let's start off the user group as normal with the news. What news do we have from the last month, guys? All right.
Any news from Build?
Okay. So Build, yes. So I was at Build. Very luckily, I got the front row, which was quite fortunate. But yes, Build, the most important news from Build, well, you guys tell me.
Surface.
The Surface was released, the baby. And actually, I have the Surface right here. This is my Surface. And you want to know, when I got it, I wanted to open it, but I decided that I would do the same as I'd done with the iPad, which was give it to my little one, who is now a few years older. She's now 8. So she unboxed it and put it together. So she did that fairly unpainlessly. In I think 7 minutes, she had it all up and running with her game and stuff. I have the video of the whole thing, but I won't put you through that. But, oops, you have to be coordinated. And that just clicks in. So that's quite nice. One thing she didn't find, which was the backrest, the kickstand. So that kickstand, she didn't discover that, but that shouldn't be a problem for you guys. And I don't know, it's got a nice login. You know, got my my daughter's face. I just tap her eyes and her nose, and I'm in. I'll change my password after this. But yeah, the general feel, no problems. It's just Windows 8. The split screen is quite nice. What you do find when you're using it, like that's just my email, what you do find when you're using it is that you notice that you flick up a number of times. So you always are flicking up to get the context-sensitive menus. So if you look at the bottom there it is. So you flick up 4 times and it will come up. Okay. So when you've got generic things like file, like file open or edit, copy, that type of things, those generic things you see in the menus, they're not the same things, but those generic things are on the right. Okay? So you always, whenever you're looking for something like that, in this case, share and search and that type of thing. That's one thing you don't get with an iPad. Every app, it's different to search. So that's kind of nice. And to close an app, well, you can use keystrokes and things like that, but if you're using this, it's just like that. So flick down. So there's a few gestures. Flick from the right, flick down, that type of stuff. There is a little one if you want to know what's running. If you've just opened a series of apps and you want to know what's running, you just do that. So back and forth, and you've got your left-hand nav. So it's a little. So there's a few things. When you're actually on Windows 8, the actual machine, you'll notice that you're using a lot of keystrokes that you haven't used before. Okay, Windows C for the charms on the right, and Windows X for your super menu. Okay, so any questions on the Surface? Who's going to buy a Surface? Interesting. Okay.
Depends on the specs for the x86 version.
Depends on the spec. Oh, okay. So who's holding out for the Surface Pro, the one that's the RT model, the proper Pro model? Okay.
Depends on the battery life.
So, depends on the battery life.
Not probably going to be like tablets which you expect to run the whole day.
Yeah. So yeah, the battery life to me is pretty important as well. I will tell you, so far on the Surface, I've been using it a fair bit. It's been a few days, so it's between charges, so it seems pretty good so far. But if you remember the iPad, or the iPhone, when you first get it, has a long battery life, and over time it depletes. So we'll see what happens there. Any other news? The Surface.
The Lumia 920.
The Lumia 920, right on schedule. It's in my pocket. So yes, the Lumia 920. Now it's like a cut down Surface, and the UI is slightly different, but not much different. Okay, so my experience with the Lumia has been especially nice with the maps. Painful for changing SIMs, because when you change a SIM, I hope I'm correct on this, but I seem to have to reboot. And Microsoft have said like obviously the apps, they're not all there. But Microsoft said the top 46 of the 50 apps from the iPhone are here. Now, unfortunately, I hit the one that I wanted, which was Instagram. Okay, so you're not getting Instagram until Christmas. Okay, I believe that's just a rumor. All right. What other? Any questions on that? Okay, so if you're going to go Windows 8 phone, you're going to go the Lumia 920 or the HTC. What is that one?
8X.
What is it?
8X.
8X. Okay.
8S.
8S. Oh, I don't know. One of them. Whatever it is. Okay. Does anyone know what it is? Okay. All right. Whatever. All right. So, look, I've polled my techie friends in the States, and 60% of them are going for the Lumia, and 40% are going for the HTC, and they all have different reasons. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Sometimes people say that they really want the Nokia. There's some Nokia apps and things. So that is a differentiator. All right. Any other news? Sinofsky's left Microsoft, yes. Yes. Sinofsky, is that right? Well, it doesn't matter if I spell it wrong anymore, I won't get in trouble. That's good. Sinofsky, I think it's right, whatever. Anyway, Steve Sinofsky has left. We believe that he'd had enough, he'd achieved everything and decided to leave. Anyway, we've only got one Steve left at Microsoft, okay? So we got the big Steve B, and I got to say, after the keynote, like I've seen Steve Ballmer do a lot of keynotes, and I was commenting to people, gee, he seems so happy. Wow, he rarely seems so happy. He's doing all his own demos, and he was really energetic, and he looks skinnier than before. So, you know, he might have been happy for a good reason, okay? So the interesting thing about Sinofsky is he really delivered. You couldn't sack him because he didn't perform well. So it's an interesting thing for managers. You know, you can only go so far if you're, you know, being abrasive to get the job done. And we don't know if that was the actual reason, but it's definitely the rumor. And yeah, we'll see what happens. He's already started tweeting just about an hour ago, and he is in Angola. So maybe Steve B sent him to Angola, but he's in Angola. There is a city there. I can't remember, but there is a city that they built with, you know, hundreds of skyscrapers, and nobody lives there, and that's where he's gone. And he put it on his Facebook page and that type of stuff. So I don't know what he's doing there. He's either relaxing or thinking of grand ideas. We will see. All right, what other news? David Klein. News?
Office 2013.
Office 2013. Yeah, anyone enjoying it? Not enjoying it? That's definitely news. We have some news. We upgraded our link service, link to Link 2013. All right. Any other news? I'm going to give you some news if you won't give me some news. There is a update coming called TFS Update 1, and I think it's called VS Update 1. And it is, all I can tell you is I can smell it, because it is, as far as I can tell from the team, it's cooked, and it's waiting on people to sign off and different things like that, whatever all the steps are through legal and different testers and stuff. But it's done, and I think you'll get it, you know, in the coming days, I would expect. I couldn't imagine there's a week away, but maybe there is. But it's something very close like that. So it has some cool things in it, mainly if you're doing Windows 8 stuff, that's going to be the primary thing. Or if you're doing Agile stuff, all the boards, the TFS stuff, all the Agile templates are done, improved, and then there's the SharePoint stuff. So there's SharePoint stuff in this update, so you need that if you're doing SharePoint. And what was the final one? Testing. So fixes and I believe I've got to remember this stat, but I believe there is 70 something new features, and there are hundreds of bug fixes. So that's not a service pack. A service pack didn't have features. This has lots of it, and it takes about less than, I'd say, between 15 and 25 minutes to install. Okay, so it's not a big deal. But if you specifically want to know exactly what's in there, I will tell you at the pub, because it will take too long. But definitely it's worth getting. I'll tell you the things that I'm most excited that you'll get. You get new cross-browser testing support for coded UI tests, if you're doing those. You can assign tasks to user stories through drag and drop on the task board. You can assign ownership through drag and drop in the people view of the task board. And you can track your progress with Kanban. So TJ, are you here? You'll be happy. All right. All right, so there's Kanban support there. All right. I'm just going to ask you a random question. There's all these new services coming out, and one is Dash. Is anyone heard of this guy? So we don't have to use taxis anymore. Has anyone tried these services where you don't have to use a taxi?
Uber, a few others as well.
Is there? What's Uber? UBER?
Yes.
Okay, so you got these. You got a couple of these guys. Sorry, my mouse is giving me problems. Uber.com, I assume. And yeah, so these are the new services that you can use that aren't taxis. Anyone tried them? Okay, well, when you try them in this month, let me know. It's going to be interesting. I reckon the taxis are going. I think that they're going to be upset about this stuff, but I don't know.
Just an expensive taxi?
Is it? No, it's cheap taxi. Yeah, it's not expensive. It's cheaper. Yes. Soon we'll maybe be we'll all be a taxi if we happen to be going that way and we're in a club. Who knows? All right. I'm going to give you some other news. I don't know the URL. Kendo UI Music Store. Does anyone know what I'm about to show? Oh, yes. All right. So I'm going to... Oh, gosh, this mouse is so painful. Let me just see if it's in. Oh, that's better. All right. So this Kendo UI Music Store, which was released by Telerik, they have gone ahead and got that MVC music shop and they've converted it. Did you know about this, Stevo?
No, I didn't. Because it's unfortunate because that's what I did last month.
Oh, you've already gone ahead and done this.
Well, that's what we've just done our enterprise MVC training on.
Oh, well, that was... Okay.
So we'll add Kendo UI to it, then we'll have the enterprise Kendo UI Music Store.
So let me just see if I can find... Let me just find this guy. No, it's actually... Basically, they've done a sample using all these controls. And how do I actually get to it? That is not... That's not very obvious.
Yeah, I imagine you'll have to download the source code. And
No.
Anyway,
No, I think go back. Go back to the music store.
Music Store.
Google for Kendo Music Store.
Oh, Eric Fan, what's he doing? Watching me. All right, thank you, Eric. He's from home. All right. So at least we know, Raj, at least you know the live stream is working fine. So here is the Kendo UI Music Store, just done with all the Telerik controls. And what you'll notice is all their controls are in here. So it's just a sample site showing this is obviously the menu. This is obviously the mega menu. This is their list view, which is just like some type of repeater, but the difference is it's client side. Okay, so that's what it's all about. You've got other cool stuff. You know how they've got all that data visualization stuff? Here we will come onto the view sales graph and owner, password, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so these graphs, obviously, as you can expect, aren't done with Flash. That would be bad. This is all done client-side, and obviously you've got this interactive. Not only is it interactive, you can. It's all iPad-friendly because it's HTML. You can flick with your finger, so it's all touch-sensitive. You can. See this all this animation stuff that you're seeing. So let me just do a couple of things here, like change the graph here. See that? And you see that the slight animation that happens as well? That slight animation is using CSS, which I believe when you're using CSS and all these CSS transforms, that it uses the GPU instead of your CPU. So all that stuff is distributed off to the GPU, which means these things are going to perform better because you're distributing the processing power. You've got more of these controls. That is ridiculous, but it looks cool. And cake. The cake is a lie. I'm not sure what that is, but it's what is that?
Portal reference, yeah.
It's a Portal reference.
It's a reference from a game called Portal.
Oh, it's a reference from a game called Portal. Okay, I'm obviously too old to understand that, but that is cool. Okay, so there you've got all that, and obviously you can see those beautiful animations are all coming from the client side code. And I guess I could, if I was to right-click on here and go inspect element or something. There's the proof. So just looking for the SVC references so you can. But anyway, that's the general idea. Pretty nice. They've done a sample site finally, so you can see it all. It's all together. All right, so that's that news. Yes.
Just another one. The conspiracy theorists around.
Oh yes.
The Click Frenzy was actually a marketing stunt by Microsoft and Amazon Web Services.
Right. Okay. So David Klein has some very insightful comments. So if you didn't know about the Click Frenzy debacle, what is the site? Click Frenzy? .com.au. I don't know if that would be right. Might be. Did anyone actually try this? Oh, here it is. That's right. I got it. So Click Frenzy was a copy of what they do in the States, how they have their Black Friday or Black Monday sale, which started off with all these. Yeah, it started off by all the technology companies like Fry's, and they had these awesome deals straight after Thanksgiving. Okay, Thanksgiving is their big holidays. So they got together in Australia with all the big retailers like Myers and Harvey Norman's and all those guys. They said this is going to be the most amazing sale. It starts at 7 p.m. Start at 7 p.m. Everything got smashed. Nothing worked. They sent out a tweet saying, "Oh, don't worry, there's thousands of people active," which meant that they'd hit 1,000 active browsers at the same time, simultaneous. You would think with something like this, which is not going to be very hard to optimize. Anyway, at least it's working now. So that's.
I don't want it sending. My 12 o'clock
You tried to get on at 7.
Yeah, and then I was about 10 past 7, and then at 12 at night I tried to get on, but it still wasn't up.
So you tried between 7 and 12 and you still couldn't get online. Well, I'm going to guess if they're only handling 1,000 users, they're going to have trouble coping with you, Marlon. That's probably the reason. So,
Yeah, but Adam, they had national coverage. They've got a lot of people doing that. So
yes.
it's a serious endeavour, but it's stuffed up.
Yeah, it was a big stuff up, and obviously, had they, well, you know, you would think that they would use cloud computing. You would think that they would use something like Azure, and they would automatically spin up more, you know,
They had
worker
20
roles.
servers.
How many servers?
20 servers.
20 servers.
PHP-based site.
PHP.
They upped it to 50 to try and
All right.
break the problem. But yeah, it's not a cloud-based.
Right. So David said that they went from, it's PHP, it went from 20 servers up to 50 and it still died. So they should have just bit the bullet and gone with Azure or Amazon or whatever.
Adam, so I asked Eric that.
Yes.
Should they have used it or should it help? And he said, and it's just an off-hand comment, but he said it would probably be too expensive if they had to spin up all these servers in the cloud.
Right.
It would cost them too much money. What are your thoughts?
Well, the pricing, you know, the pricing is an issue, but we're talking about pricing for only usage. So, assuming that they want people to be on, unless this is some marketing stunt, which is pretty hard to believe, then you only need, you can have code that as, you know, as you're hitting near capacity or 70%, you can set up another worker role, another one, and then when it's not used, it drags it back down. So I couldn't imagine that it's going to be, if you have the dynamic sizing, you're going to say the cost is prohibitive because you're only using what you pay for. Yep. And actually, it probably would have been a lot cheaper than having to have 50 servers sitting there in case they use it. But who knows?
I still think they have, I mean, 50 servers is quite a lot. They should be able to handle quite a load with that. I still think I would like to look at their database access and query.
Right.
You know,
So TJ is making the observation he doubts it was hardware, and it was probably software related, it was probably code related, and that's been our experience most of the time. It could have been on the SQL Server side, or you know, or you know, the middle tier. When we've you know, like I'm just thinking of the auction site that Peter Gaffeda did. If he's watching us from Italy, he from the very first sprint, because he knew that the most important thing on the auction site was to be handle a certain concurrent amount of users. He had load tests running just against the web services. So he was smashing that from day dot, and that was in every single sprint. So,
It was built in Magento.
sorry?
It was built in Magento.
It was built in Magento, this was. Okay.
That's what it says at the bottom of the site.
Right, okay.
Setting that logo up.
Yeah, they might want to... Oh, yeah, okay. Open source e-commerce. There's the one to use. Okay. Very good. Thanks, Marlon. All right. That's that. Just trying to think if there's any other news. Oh, yes. I know one that I want to see. I thought this was hilarious when I read this. Retailer warns of scam gift. Hopefully that'll come up. Now this, I don't know. I thought this was cool, and I'll tell you why. This guy. First of all, the amount of people that got it. So this is just a scam that happened, but it was a very successful scam. So anyone heard of this guy? The Woolworths scam? Yeah. Okay, so a few of you. This got everyone. And basically, when you look at this thing, people think that it looks real. And what I thought was really cool was when I saw this guy, Troy Hunt. Who remembers Troy? Yep, so he spoke here a little while ago. And he went through and disassembled each part of it. So he goes, this is the story. So he goes through, talks about the code, what it's doing. What I liked is how he goes, here's the page. Now let me tell you what was happening here. This bit up here was fake. This bit here is real. This bit here is fake. This bit here is fake. So mix some real and fake. You got a good trickery going on here. So they put it on there, and
What was the scam?
the scam was,
$400 voucher.
yeah, you'll get a $400 voucher if you just like this. And so people put comments and like it, and they copy what's here, and they write, "Thanks, Woolworths, submit."
So what did you get out of it?
What do they get out of it? That's a bloody good question. I don't know.
They get money out of it if you read the article, Adam.
Oh, if I read the article.
Yeah, they get lots of clicks. That's all they get. The people who run the site.
Can I...
No, just the scammer get like ad.
I'm not sure if I can do this.
G'day, Adam.
Troy, how are you going, sir?
I am good. You're very quiet, though.
Oh, that's all right. I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Actually, I'm turning you up so I can make this work.
Right. I want... you're live here at the user group. Be careful what you say.
G'day, guys.
Hi, Troy.
Are you watching?
No, I'm not, actually. What am I missing now?
Oh, you're missing lots. I just wanted to know, this post you did on the Facebook scam, how long did it take you to do?
I pretty much put it together on the weekend. I don't know, maybe a few hours, 3-4 hours.
Wow, it's very in-depth. Congratulations for the link on on SMH. Is that your first time?
Don't forget the age as well.
Oh, the age. Oh, you're famous. All right, so he's off to Hollywood next.
Yeah, maybe.
So what did these guys get out of this this Woolworths scam?
Look, it's an interesting question. I think there's probably a couple of different possible things they got out of it. So probably the most obvious is that there's this whole sort of bizarro world called CPA advertising or cost per action advertising, which they often also call incentivized co-registration, which sounds all very marketing people like. But basically there is a commercialization model around getting people to fill in surveys. So if you can get people to fill in surveys, and I guess it's a little bit like ad views, there's a sort of a small fraction of a dollar that the person that puts it together can get. So what seems to be happening is there's a number of companies out there that will pay you if you can get people to fill out a survey. So I guess the commercialization of what the guys get out of it for running this scam is that if they can trick you into filling out surveys, they get a little bit of cash. And obviously if they can trick thousands and thousands of people into filling out a survey, then maybe they get a little bit more cash. So that's probably the most likely explanation, but the other side, and I guess the darker side to it, is that at the end of these surveys, you're needing to leave some pretty personal info. So you're leaving, obviously, your name and your email, but things like your home address and your birth date. And particularly when you start getting things like birth date, it says to me, hey, this is more sort of personally identifiable information. So this is data which an attacker might then use to start mounting identity theft or doing other things that are a whole lot more nasty than just getting you to fill out a survey.
Right. Okay. Cool. Can I ask one more question before I let you go?
Shoot.
This other one, I know you can't see it, was this post you did on the 17th of October. She did what in school? And this was one that I thought was even worse because you see this terrible picture of this girl and it says shocking at 15 she did that in a public high school, and if you click on it you don't like it, you don't do anything other than click to see what the video is. I saw that the guy, whoever clicks on it, ends up on the wall post. I couldn't understand. Tell us about that. And that's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's interesting. To be honest, there's a little bit of humour to it insofar as you get a bunch of people, and as I said in the post, including my mother-in-law, who have this on their Facebook wall with them liking it, and they say, well, look, I never watched it. The reality of it is what they've done is they've seen it on someone's wall, they've clicked through to it, it loads a web page that appears to have a YouTube video on it. And what happens is when they click on the play controls on that YouTube video, what they're actually doing is they're clicking on a Facebook like button. So this is called clickjacking. And basically what clickjacking is doing is it's kind of hijacking your click. So in actual fact, it's not a YouTube video. It's not like an embedded flash player or an HTML5 video player. It's just a static image. And you've just got these transparent like buttons overlaying the video controls. So you think that you're clicking on the play control, but what you're actually doing is clicking on like, and then it doesn't play, and people just forget about it. But what they don't realize is it's just popped up on their wall. They've just liked it. Their friends see it, and they go, okay, well, that's kind of interesting, and they click through too, and the whole thing just propagates.
Right.
Now, normally what happens with that one as well, that was also sort of this co-incentivized advertising, because it then takes you through to surveys and other sorts of rubbish that you really don't want anyway.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Troy. Any questions for Troy? Thank you, sir. I'll let you go.
Not a problem. See you guys.
See ya. So if I saved one person here from having that on their Facebook profile, I think that's worth it. So you can see that, you know, if you're going for a job, someone checks out your profile and it looks like you've liked this 15-year-old girl that did that in high school, you probably shouldn't have clicked it in the first place, just to see what it was. Anyway, so it's dangerous. Clickjacking. All right, any other news? I have one more piece of news that I'm going to tell you. I have to tell you this one because I promised my little girl. My little girl did a blog, and she's done this blog, and she's done this video on this Australian guy called David Warren. How many people in the room know who David Warren is? Okay, so we've got less than 5% of the room, and she would say that's the reason that she did it. But she's done this video, but more importantly, she did this other thing called, what's it called? Change.org thing. So change.org is some, I don't know, they change a lot of things. I think this is the Alan Jones site where you say you want to get him off the radio, but didn't seem to work. She, and I think the cutest thing is I got a call from change.org, and they said, do you allow us to do a press release on this? And that was today. So I said that yes, and they've sent it off. So who knows? She might have more than 83. But yeah, if you're interested in a world-class video, check this out. It's very good. All right, I think we're done unless anyone else has any other news. Any other news? All right, I'll hand it over to Jared for a scrum. Now, be kind to him because I believe his mum's watching from England.